Well, we're back here for another talk this weekend. Hi, everybody on YouTube. Today's gonna be a big topic about mindset and mind hacks, and by that I mean we're gonna talk about certain practices and certain techniques that I learned throughout the years of training and my self studies on mindset and sports psychology and spirituality a little bit. So get comfortable. I'm going to go on YouTube, on Instagram too. So yes, let's do this. um, I think I'm ready. Let's go. It's taking a moment. Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to the Sophia Show. So today it's another exciting Sunday with me, and the topic is hot. Today's topic, it's hot. Guys, I took so many notes because it's deep. We're going deep today. We're going to mindset, we're going to mind hacks, which means pretty much what I've learned in the past years that has really helped me not only improve my training and my mindset around training, but especially in life. I apply these mind hacks to my everyday life. So I hope you're gonna find something that's gonna help you because I'm here to share my experience, but most of all is to inspire you to find what works for you and hopefully help you and motivates you and find what helps you improve and be better. So let's start. And so, first of all, what are mind hacks? The mind hacks that I'm considering today are pretty much techniques that's gonna help you use your mental power, the power of your mind toward the goal you have, toward the things you want to achieve, toward what you really want to attract in your life. So this talk is gonna be mostly like psychology based, but there's gonna be also some spirituality because, to be honest, guys, you know how it is. It's not just the body, the mind, and that's it. This world, there's so much more outside of what we see. So I'm not gonna be super into like extreme spirituality things because I know some people might not understand me to that level. It's those things becomes very hard to understand if you're not a little familiar with the terminology of the universe energy, and everybody has a certain like belief around these things. So some religious people, like, they're more into that. So I'm not gonna talk too much into it, but there will be parts of my speech that would include some spirituality. So I hope you enjoy it and you can take some inspiration from it. So this is what I want to do. I want to talk about techniques that's going to help you really channel the power of your mind into what you want to create for you, and also stop self-sabotaging yourself. Because honestly, the more I live, the more I understand that we are the biggest, we can be our biggest friend, but also our biggest enemy. And we really can self-sabotage ourselves with negative thinking, self-negative talk. So I'm going to talk about also ways to like kind of like be more aware of your behavior, more aware of your tendency on how you speak to yourself, how you speak about yourself to others, how you speak about others. Because whatever you talk and speak, it's kind of like a reflection of your mental state and who you are as a person. So there's gonna be some of that too. So I always say that in my experience with training, as of now, I've been training for more than 25, I don't even know, honestly I lost count, but like, yeah, it's been like a long time really trying to master my body and really get familiar with like how to build my body, build myself, learn the flexibility, learn the balance. Like I really spent so much time trying to master the body, to the point that I realized that the body, in a way, it's the easiest part. The hardest part is to harness your mind. So this is why I got really passionate about the mindset speaking, learning about it, is because it really is the highest element of achieving the mastery over the body, it really includes the mastery of the mind. I don't think we'll ever be able to master the mind, to be honest. Maybe you'll master your body throughout this life, but I think the mind is just the most erratic thing. So it's very hard to be always on top of your thinking, because most of our thinking patterns and behaviors are ruled by the subconscious. So you think about your mind as like a conscious mind and subconscious mind. First of all, I want to kind of like introduce this concept. So subconscious mind runs about 95% of your beliefs and behavior, and it's something underneath. It's like the top of an iceberg is your conscious thoughts, like, oh, I'm aware that today is this day, the sun is there, and I'm talking, I'm aware of these things. This is the of your mind really operating, and the 95% is the bottom of the iceberg top, and the bottom is your mind. Is really, your thinking is all controlled by the subconscious. So this is why it's very hard for us to stay conscious all the time, like aware of my thinking, aware of what I'm talking about, is because it takes so much energy to be conscious all the time. This is why our body, it goes into auto mode all the time. When you're driving, your auto mode, like your body's trying to save energy. That's why you have those automatic programming, like your brain saves energy. So many things are controlled by the subconscious mind. So you don't have to think about it, right? So technically it's efficient to a certain degree, but then we are constantly ruled, and we move about our life just ruled by our old beliefs or past conditioning, or things that we learned like 20 years ago that are not serving us anymore today. So that's why, like, the conscious, being more conscious about how we think, more aware of what we think and how we act, it's really a key to improving your life, your mindset, your training, and everything else. So okay, so first of all, the first mental, I would say, mind hacks that I think has made a huge difference for me, but I think it really this is something very common along all people that are into this type of things, is having a morning routine. To be honest, I think the morning is such a powerful place of the day, because it's where you kind of set the mood for the day. So, and what I mean by that is that when you wake up in the morning, you are in that state of high receptivity to ideas and thoughts, and it's same as when you're about to fall asleep. Those two states, where you're about to fall asleep and you just woke up, you're really perceptive to thoughts. And so sometimes, when you go to sleep with a negative thoughts, it just amplifies, and the next day you wake up, you feel like shit, right? So like, same thing as the morning. Like, if you start waking up and thinking about a problem, or you check your phone and some shit happened and the email came through and you're not happy about it, is going to carry along with the day. So I think the morning is this sacred moment where you need to take at least an hour for yourself. And there are different practices that I enjoy doing. For example, I wake up, and I know some people, they don't like the meditation thing. And again, you might have some resistance around it, because I had a lot of resistance around meditation, because I was like, I don't get it. I just move. That's my type of, meditation is movement for me. But there's nothing like waking up and you can find some sort of meditation that works for you. There are breathing exercise, like 5 minutes meditation, there's 10 minutes meditation. I started with a 5 minutes meditation, and then ended up going to some retreats where I meditated for 4 hours in a row. And I think I was going to lose my mind, but that was the point, losing my mind to then build a new one, right? So right now I meditate about 30 minutes every morning, and I do some guided meditation. I love this app called Insight Timer. It's a really good meditation app, and it has like different meditation types. So one that I enjoy is usually guided, but like with not a lot of talking. So like I don't want like to have to listen to someone telling me what to do all the time. So like some talking is good, but I really like to practice most of the time is just observing your thought, letting it just be, and then trying to stay longer into the gap between the thoughts. So when you can stay longer in between the gap between thoughts, that's kind of like the place you would want to stay longer and longer. And this is the place of total peace and absence of thoughts and absence of thinking, where really you can tap into something deeper in you. And that's kind of like when you connect to the higher self, or I don't want to call it higher self, I mean like the higher intelligence, the universe, God, or source, or however you want to call it. is in that space between thoughts. So sometimes slowing yourself down, breathing, trying to just regulate your thinking by just observing. Sometimes there's nothing you can do. You're just like, there's a thought there, okay, cool. And then there's another one there. Like you become the observer of your mind. That's when you start having a little more control over it. So you want to create a separation between your thinking and you, because you are not your thoughts. You are the observer of your thoughts. So that's what I like to do. Use meditation to develop some more awareness and observing my type of what thoughts comes through. Some are heavier, some are lighter, and also notice if I feel some reaction in my body, like just the observation of it. It's very telling, right? So another thing you can do is journaling. And like people like, what are you going to journal about? There's no rules about journaling. Like journaling can be something that you just want to set your intention for the day. Like today I want to focus on this. It's going to be a good day. Like I really want to like work on this thing, or I want to just talk about how I felt this week or how things. The journaling is really good. So sometimes I do either or I just want to like sit there and just write things about that I'm grateful for. Just really practicing the positive thinking, not thinking about what is lacking in my life, but more like focusing on what is there and really like nourish that, like just nourish the gratitude around what I have. That sets a mood for the day. It sets a positive mood for the day. That's the other thing. You want to set this type of positivity for the day. And then another thing that I like to do is usually reading a couple pages from some book that really like matter to me. They're like, usually I read books around like written by some spiritual teachers. One of my favorites is Abraham Hicks. I love about Joe Dispenza. Is like the person that started me on this journey like 3 years ago. Like I had a huge crush for Joe, which I mean I met him already, but I don't know. I want to see him again. And then I have Wayne Dyer, another huge philosopher, spiritual teacher that I love, that I read his book over and over. Then we have Neville Goddard, I really love. And then one of the most ancient one is Lao Tzu, with the Taoism. And if you're not familiar with Taoism, this is like a religion, but there is this there's a lot of very beautiful concept around it, and one of my favorite one is the art of not doing, of not forcing, of sitting back, of flowing with life instead of going against it. And that had taught me a lot about chilling the fuck out, because I was like this type of personality where I want to like fix everything, control everything, and work so hard for like keeping things in my life, when I realized that the opposite was true. The opposite was really was working, was just allowing things to evolve at their own timing and just sitting back more and just allowing space between the things I wanted just to unfold in their own way. So that's kind of like what I learned from reading about Lao Tzu, the Tao Te Ching, and that's his book, famous book that he wrote like a million years ago. Honestly, like I don't even know how it's one of the oldest written like piece. Okay, so that's one number one, right? So the other 9 hacks that I really enjoy is visualization and using your imagination. So for what? First of all, when you want to reach something, either being training, either being in life, either being your work, either being your health, either being in anything, in love, like you want to exercise the power of your imagination, because visualization is very, very powerful. And that doesn't mean just dreaming about things and forgetting about it, like, oh, that's a dream, I'm just gonna. No, it's literally visualizing and imagining with complete certainty. Like this is something many athletes that have done and do. For example, I remember watching The Last Dance, where Michael Jordan was talking about how he would always sit in almost like a meditative state before a big game, and he would just like look in his mind, just play the things he would have done and how he would have played and what kind of like score he had in mind, and he just kind of like practiced seeing himself achieving that before even going onto the court. So this is something very very common as a technique for athletes, is to visualize what they want to create. And this is something that has helped me too in training. Like there were some certain tricks that my body wasn't able yet to accomplish. And just by me being close to a certain pose, and just thinking about like eventually this is going to happen, and just imagining myself doing a certain trick, it just brought me there. So everything starts with in your mind. So everything if you can think about it, you can create it. If you can imagine it, you can bring it to life. So I'm really big believer of that. And this is something you want to do, especially before you go to sleep, because for once you want to go to sleep with something that you're visualizing that you wanted to achieve, that's positive, that brings you happiness. Like, I can't wait till that happen. And you have to just surrender to the belief in a way that it doesn't matter how the condition of the moment are. Like, if you're very sick, you want to go to sleep imagining, like, oh my God, how good it will feel when I'm going to be healthy, when I'm going to be healed. Like, you have to go against the reality of the moment, because you are a creator. So you want to be receiving that, visualizing, imagining the outcome that you want, and just sit with with like a deep knowing and certainty that's gonna come true. And I know this, some people might think it's like, oh, this is like, seems like impossible, like thinking like this is like, I believe when I see it. I'm like, it actually, you have to believe it before you see it. It's kind of like how, I mean, I healed a lot of a lot. I didn't have so many injuries, thankfully, but like the few one that I had, I definitely followed through the moves that helped me heal, like going to the physical therapies, changing my training routine, resting more. But I think what made the huge difference, like my total belief of the ability for my body to heal. Like, I never questioned that, and I know that that's what takes my body to really fully heal, is that I create like an environment within myself that's very positive, where my cells can thrive. And so then I help them. Like, if I feel terrible, negative, sad, I'm never gonna get healthy, like, my body feels what I think. And so for that reason, I make it very hard for the body to heal. So you need to start creating a positive environment in your mind for your body to really like be able, you gotta help your body. And the way you help it is by doing the action that helps the body, right? So like resting, doing physical therapy. So you have an injury, you gotta do the rehab. But most of it is just having total certainty and trust in the body ability to heal. For me, that's a huge one. So visualizing yourself feeling good, visualizing how I cannot wait when I go back doing what I love to do because I'm going to heal. So just have that unshakable trust in yourself, in your body, in nature, in source, in however you want to call the divinity that created you. So that's for number second. Yes. So I want to like kind of, yeah. I've written so much. So this is another thing that I wrote that I want to tell you. Like, I wrote this phrase where it says success is the ability to entertain only what you want, not contradictory thoughts or thoughts in dissonance with your dream. So I think this goes it goes back to what I said just now, is like just focusing on what you want to bring to life. Just put your attention into what you want. You want to heal, just try to just think thoughts that about healing, not about, oh my God, if this doesn't work, like what am I gonna do? Like, when you think negative, you're bringing your attention to negativity, and therefore you're bringing your energy. And whatever you bring your energy to, it grows, it amplifies, it strengthens. So that's when you want to weaken some thoughts. You just have to stop thinking about it. And I know sometimes it's so hard to stop thinking about it. It's like you have pain in your body. It's like, how am I gonna stop thinking about pain? I have pain in my body. How am I'm gonna stop thinking about it? You have to just move your thoughts to something else. You have to really like it's a process. It takes a lot of like practice to get there. But like, if you keep thinking on what you don't want to come to you, and you're in that loop, you just amplify it, and it's just how it goes. It's the only way. You have to really get over that mentality. And I mean, I know it's too sad to say, but it is. Every time I'm able to even do that for a little bit, because I'm also not perfect. Like, I have my own like ups and downs, of course, but every time I'm able to keep even a little longer, that certainty, that connection in my mind is like, no, I know this is the truth. Like, I'm just gonna believe that I can do this, or I can achieve that, or I can heal this. I'm always rewarded. Like, it always works. It's just so hard to stick to the belief, because we're so conditioned to think negative, to go into survival mode, which is thinking about the worst case scenario, because I gotta protect myself, because if something happened, I gotta know how I'm gonna do it. And I'm like, yeah, but like, you still don't have control. It feels like you have control when you think about negative, the worst case scenario, but I'm like, you still don't. Like, and also, what if it never happens? So I read somewhere that 95% of our worries never happen. And think about what kind of misery we put ourselves into. Like, we're like literally thinking about over and over and over about things that will never happen, and you just are miserable just thinking about what nothing. Not some Most of our worries will never happen. Like, I remember where I read that, I was like, oh god, like that's true. Okay, so the number three mind hack is something that I know everybody has a hard time with it. I still have a hard time with it too. Is harnessing the power of the spoken word. And what does that mean? Is really watch how you talk, how you talk about yourself, how you talk about others, how you talk about where you at, what you want, what you don't want. Like, just check on that. Like, it's so easy to, like, because misery loves company. Like, I feel sometimes if you complain to a friend and he complains to you, like, oh, we're bonding. I'm like, I mean, you guys are miserable together. That doesn't mean bonding. It means like you just want to feel less bad, so you're gonna hang with a friend that's also having some problem, and you're gonna talk about your problem back and forth. And yeah, sometimes, don't get me wrong, it really helps to, like, you want to, vent, and something has just happened. Just do it once. Just don't keep fucking hammering the thing, like, because again, what you talk about, what you think about, it just comes to your heart like stronger and stronger. So, like, instead of complaining about this doesn't happen and this person didn't do that, you either just don't talk about it or just change topic, honestly. Like, because there's also this thing. I remember in Italy, people in Italy do this all the time, and this is one of the reasons why I left my country. Okay. There's this thing about sarcasm that you just make fun of yourself to be funny, but in reality, you're talking down to yourself. And that means, like, oh, I don't know, it's just saying something about training. I was like, well, of course, I'm never going to be able to do that. I remember how bad I was when I started this, and now I'm trying again, and I look like a fucking clown. Ha ha ha. I remember that type of sarcasm thing where, like, you're making jokes on yourself because you want to be funny and light, but I'm like, in reality, you're talking down to yourself. So I don't condone that type of talking. Like, I'm like, you don't make fun of me on progress, or like, how bad am I now? Look, I can't even be in a split. I'll never be in a split. Haha. No, it's very powerful what you talk about. So just watch your talk. You're talking. Watch your spoken word. It's very powerful. The way you think, you should also be careful how you speak. So don't talk about too much about your fear and doubt. Like, again, you can vent sometimes to your friends, and like, we like, I mean, especially women. I think men just hold everything in, and I don't know. That's also like terrible. Sometimes, like, you gotta, like, let it out, or I don't know, talk about it with your friends, family, or something's really bothering you. Just let it out. Just kind of like, it helps you to process it, but then let the shit go. Don't keep hammering this thing over, and every day is the same shit, and then this happened, and then this. You really have to process it and just wash yourself off of it, and just recenter, reground, focus on what you want. Like, you really have to make sure that your mind it's not polluted by all these contradicting thoughts. I know what I want, but let me talk about what I don't want for 2 hours and a half. I'm like, what about talking about, like, these are the things? And if you can talk about positive about what you want, talk about positive about something else in your life that you like, because that is a good exercise. Because if you start practicing talking positive about other things, or, well, I don't know, I was doing it. I'm still using training, honestly, but this is way more applicable to everything in life. But, like, I could say, like, well, I was trying to do a handstand, but fucking I fucked up. My training was shit. But then, no, find something good within it. Well, but actually, I noticed that my shoulders were really open, and I really like the way I was feeling in a certain stretch, and my breathing was better, and I was able to hold my stretches longer. And so that's to celebrate. Like, you can't always be so pointing out the few things that are still not working. And I used to do that too. Like, I was always, like, so severe on myself, and not really celebrating, or just like the celebration was like, okay, good job. 2 seconds of, like, acknowledging something. Now I'm just like, no, wait, let's have a little party here. Let's just do the balloons. Maybe the balloon comes up. Every time I do this, the balloon comes up. No, no. But what I'm saying is, just, again, speak about, if you can speak positively about what you want, just speak about something else that's going well in your life, in your training, in your love life, in your family. Just appreciate, like, today's a good day. The smallest thing, honestly, just practicing talking more positively, because we all, like, have this negativity you carry around. And sometimes it's even hard because you have friends and you want to be positive and they're super negative. That's why sometimes I also spend a lot of time alone, is because I mean, I have very few selected people that I surround myself around, but also sometimes, you can run away from the world and live on the top of a mountain, like be a monk. You have to also deal with interacting with other people and hold a little compassion for them. If they're having a good day or a bad day, just be there for them. Don't absorb all their negativity. Just hold space and be present. But you want to still have friends or people around you. Okay, so that's number 4. No, that's number 3. So now I have another point, which is number 4. Yeah, this live is gonna take 3 hours now. We'll see. Maybe we'll do 2 parts. What do you think? Okay, number 4 is another concept that I love. And this is a concept that I don't even know who initiated it, but I think many people initiated it. It's called the concept of thinking from the end. And it's like, what the fuck does that mean? Thinking from the end means practicing acting out of something you want as already done and achieved. And what I mean is, how would I act if what I wanted I already had it? How would I feel? What would I do? Like, kind of practicing that type of thinking. Who would I be when that happened? Like, I don't know. It's almost like, it's like seeing yourself. It's like impersonalizing, like embodying what you want as already something you arrived, you've done it, and you're like, well, who am I fooling? Like, I didn't get what I wanted yet. Like, am I lying to myself? I'm like, when they say fake it till you make it, it kind of is that kind of concept. It's like, you don't have to fake it to the world. Like, oh, I want to. I mean, you don't have to lie, right? That's what I mean. But like, you have to believe that what you want is possible and it's already here for you. Somehow you don't see yet in the material world, but it's coming to you. So with that, having that thinking from the end, thinking from the wish fulfilled, thinking from what you want already achieved. Like, every time I want to do a trick, I'm just keep going back to training, because this is like we're gonna relate on training. I think I'm trying to go back to that topic of training because this is what we're talking about too. I'm like, what would I do if I already have the specific trick that I want? I'll be practicing the trick. And if I cannot do it yet, I'll do something that's similar or like a regression of it. I'll be happy. I'll feel accomplished. I'll feel like everything's possible for me. I just don't see it yet, but I have the certainty that I can do it because everything I put my mind into, I get it. And I'm really strongly believing into everything I want, I can have it. And so thinking from the end, thinking from the wish fulfilled really helps you to, or the universe orchestrate a lot of things for you to bring it to you. And you have to really believe that there are no coincidence or just random act of things happening a certain way. Everything responds to you. Everything responds to how you feel. So there's not like just casuality. Everything is connected to what you are creating in the present moment, right? So really think about what you want is already done and it's coming to you, and all you gotta do is being that. And what does that mean? For example, don't think about you as I'm just a person that goes to the gym, or I'm not just a person that stretch. No, think about you as I am an athlete, I am a contortionist, I am a dancer. Oh, sometimes I dance. No, I am a dancer. This is how I feel. I am that person. I am that, and therefore act like that. Like, act as if it is already a reality. And maybe be like, well, I'm not really flexible yet, or I'm not really fit, or I'm not a dancer. Just act as it. Just practice the feeling of being that, and the habit that person have, and just think from the end, and that's gonna help you attract all these situations, all these changes in your body, all these coincidences happening to bring you what you want. It really is hard sometimes to convince yourself, because it's like, well, we're so used to cause and effect. Like, I do this, so this happened. And this position and I'm putting you, it asks you to think the opposite way. You think about, what if you feel first the way you want, and then every other cause happen after to bring it to you? You know what I mean? Like, switching the cause and effect is effect and cause. it's a hard concept for a lot of people, but again, this took me 3 years to understand it, honestly. This is why now I'm talking about all this mind hack, like, oh yeah, just do that. But I'm telling you, this takes a lot of practice, a lot of believing, a lot of what I'm going to talk about in the fourth element, fourth hack is a lot of mental reprogramming, and this is what I'm going to talk about now. So, mental reprogramming is the other mind hack, and there's a phrase by Joe Dispenza that I really love, and he says, "In order to change, a part of us must die." And what does that mean is you can really hold on some parts of you that, like a part of me that was extremely anxious in the past. If I want to really change who I am, I have to let that part die. I have to let that part go because I want to make space for something else to be built in me, for someone being like more comfortable with my emotion, more secure, and just so that one part of you must die. There's a lot of, like I said earlier in this live, there's that 95% of subconscious programs that are built until we're 35. I think once we're 35, we have built all this subconscious programming that runs in the back of our mind and literally control us. This is how we create a perception of the world. It's based on the way we relate with the world, is the way we relate in reality with what is running in our subconscious. So the stories, the beliefs. Remember, a belief is only a thought being constantly repeated. If you keep thinking a certain thing, it becomes a belief, which is a truth that you accept. And there's no need to prove. You just accept that truth because it's a thought that's been repeated so often that you just accept it. So you don't doubt anymore. So sometimes you believe things to the point where you never doubt the reality of them. And this is why sometimes it's good to like start becoming more aware. And the main way to do it is through meditation, to be honest, because it's very hard to be aware of what you think when you're like in the day, deep into your routine and dealing with shit. And you're like, oh, let me just think about what am I thinking about? I'm like, that's why the morning and the night are such powerful moment of the day to really tune into yourself and just observe more of like, how am I feeling? What am I thinking? What is the strongest emotion running into me? What is the strongest thought that bothers me? And just observe. And I'm being, so the first step is literally being more aware. And only from being more aware, you're going to have the space to create more, you have more aware, you have more awareness, more consciousness, and then you're going to be able to change a little bit of the narrative. And what that means is just rewrite your own stories. What is a story? It's just, again, it's a belief, it's something you just take for granted. Like there's people that are like victim of their life. Oh, this always happened to me, or this person always, nobody loves me, or like this is just your narrative. And like you are just accepting a belief because you repeated this thinking so often and it just accepts the truth. But does it has to be your truth? Can you change your truth? I'm getting to the point where there's no truth and there's no reality. I'm getting to this place in my mind often where I just recently I started to think like, I don't think we're ever gonna know the truth. But that gives you a lot of freedom, and a lot of freedom of, well, if I'm never gonna go know the truth, I'm gonna pick a story that support my happiness. That's why sometimes you know, there's like there was a video where Abraham Hicks asked the audience, would you rather know the truth? Would you rather be right, or would you rather be happy? I think that was the question. Would you rather be happy, or would you rather be right? That's why I'm like, just pick the story that supports your happiness. You don't have to be right. Like, it doesn't have to be what everybody else believes. It's just everyone is running their own stories. Everybody's running their own beliefs based on their experience. So there's no wrong and right, to be honest. It's just a bunch of stories that we run in the back of our mind. So reality is just a personal perception. This is what I'm saying here. Reality is just a personal perception. And if you don't like how your reality is, you gotta act by start changing the way you think around things. And I know, like, okay, girl, thank you for that. Now what? Well, I'm like, it's just a very long process, but I promise you, if you start investing a little bit in just being more aware and implementing some of those mind hacks, it will make sense. It will like start like something new will start running. There's gonna be more space for you to actually create new stories that support your happiness. Because again, like I said, we're all running on stories and beliefs that, you know, we created along the way. We carried on with our conditioning, with our life, with our education, with our parents, and there's nobody to blame. Everybody's trying to do their best. To be honest, I have so much compassion sometimes for humanity because I feel like we're all here. We just got dumped on planet Earth with no instruction manual, and we're all trying to figure it out. Like, so sometimes, like, I feel like, yeah, people are doing mistakes. People are hurting other people. People are like, but at the end of the day, we all want the same thing. We're all the same. We are all the same person in different reality, like different bodies, different things, but we're all trying to figure it out. Like, that's why I have some more compassion with people sometimes. Like, I'm like, who is just trying to figure it out? So, okay. Now, the number, I lost count. Is this 6, I think? Okay. Oh, God, it's 11:40. Fuck. Anyway, let me try to finish this live because as you can tell, I have a lot to say because this is one of my favorite topics, to be honest, is mindset and mind hacks and how to improve your mind. And literally, like, I'm talking from experience. Like, these things that I write, I practice them every day. So the number 6 mantra is, no, the number 6 mind hacks is having mantras. And what does that mean is, so some people talk to themselves in the mirror, like, and talk things, and I'm like, I can't do that, guys. For some reason, I'm like, I look at myself, I'm like, bitch, what the fuck? Like, you're gonna talk to yourself? I mean, I can't get over, like, that's my block. You know, I have my own mental block. I can't really talk to myself in the mirror. I just make it. It's too funny. I'm like, I can't. So I have a mantra that works for me. It's not like the affirmation, like looking at myself talking. It's mantras that I run in my head. Like, I have certain phrases on rotation. I'll just share some phrases that helps me, you know, to keep my mind in a good place, to like keep my mind in a place where I can find stability, happiness, centeredness. So one of the mantra is, "These too shall pass." Like, that's a huge one for me. It's like every time I'm having like a bad day or a bad thought or like a bad spiral. Like, I used to spiral like a motherfucker. I used to spiral like all the way to the floor. Like, I was just very good at like starting from one negative thought and then attaching another 5 negative thoughts, and then like, oh, this is also going to shit. Oh, let me think about the other thing. Oh, let me think about the other person that hurt me, or like, and you just go down like crazy. Like, you know, this is why, you know, your brain looks, it's just crazy because you think one negative thing and then a lot of other things attached to it, and it just start to create momentum. So that's why one thing that I learned with this mantra is, if I can stop the momentum of the negativity, at least I don't have to go all the way down. And then it took me a week to recover. Now, like, the refractory period, like the time that it takes me to get myself back together, is a lot shorter because I have this technique that I mentioned, but also have this mantra. Like, this too shall pass, to me is huge because it makes me realize that and remember that nothing is final, nothing is to take so seriously. Everything is always in flow, everything moves, everything just pass, either being a good thing and being a negative thing. That's why when you have something good happening, you better be present, and when you have something bad happening, you know it will pass, you know. I also have this quote that I love that I heard recently that says, "You are the sky and the clouds are your moods." You are the sky. I mean, in reality, you are that. Don't take yourself so seriously. Like, don't look at the clouds like you are the clouds. No, those are negative thoughts, but they pass. So this too shall pass is a huge one for me. Then I ask myself, when I think about something negative, or like when I'm in a certain mental state, I ask myself, is this loving to me? Simple question. It's like, what would love do? Is this loving to me, or what would love do? Like, how can I make this loving? These thoughts, is this helping me? Is this serving me? Why is this negative thoughts only hurt you? This is another thing I realized lately. I was like, you know, I was worrying about someone, or like I was overthinking something, and I just kind of stopped and I said, wow, those negative thoughts, they only hurt me. Nobody else is involved. It's all in my fucking head. So that kind of gave me a lot of like calm, because I was like, oh, okay, so I just need to switch my thinking. Huh. So that's why I tell you, having awareness around your thinking is gonna like start making you understand how nuts, they call it the monkey mind for a reason. The mind is just this jungle, and you really need to like control it to a certain degree. I don't like the word control, but like at least domesticate it, because it really can be your best friend or your worst enemy. It's just all within you, And that's why, like, I think that's why people go crazy. The more, you get to be an adult and you forget how easy it was when you were a kid. Because when you were a kid, you were so close to your nature, to source, to just, you just came to the world, right? And you didn't have all that bullshit. But then the older you get, the more like, damn, I really need to work on my mind because this is gonna go to shit. Like, if you don't care for your mind, it's going to shit. Like, the thinking is insane. That's why I started really believing that it was not so much about controlling my body, but my mind was running the fucking show all the time. So another phrase that I really love is like trust over fear, love over fear, acceptance over fear. Whatever, it's whatever it is, like love, acceptance, trust. Those are really big, powerful words, but like they win over your fear. They can win over your fear. You don't want the fear to be the main protagonist because um, you are not it. You're not fearful. You are just thinking fearful thought. It's the same as you're not anxious. You're just thinking about anxious thought, but you are what you think about. I mean, you really have that type of freedom, and it's crazy because we feel like we're so enslaved in our thinking, but like we do have the keys. We are the actual owners of our freedom, and sometimes it's easier to be caged. I think another quote that I heard I really love was like, "You are so free that you can choose to be in a cage. This is how much freedom you have. You are so free that you can choose to be caged. That's your choice. Everything is your choice. Eventually, you learn you have so much responsibility. Like fuck, like there's a lot of responsibility I have. Okay, so another 2 points, and I'm not quit it, guys. Oh, three, but the third one is really fast. So the number 7 hack is regulating your emotion. Emotional regulation, it's huge because, which also it goes hand in hand with your thinking because the body accepts whatever the mind is thinking as truth. They accept it blindly. Your body doesn't know what the fuck. Your body doesn't see shit. Your body doesn't know. If you think a fearful thought or a worrisome thought, your body automatically start like hurt, like your breathing gets heavier, your pain in your chest, like your body is really like it doesn't know nothing. It just follows the mind blindly. So you really have to regulate your emotion, but that also means regulating your thinking because emotion and thinking is the same category. Like emotions are the language of your body and thoughts are the language of your mind. This is what Joe Dispenza says all the time, and it's really true. So how do you regulate your emotions? So I would say that there is no way to force yourself when you're super sad and people say like, well, just be happy about something. Like, you know what? Go fuck yourself. Like it really never helps when you're really, really negative to hear someone just be happy. Life is good. Because you are too low in the emotional ladder. This is how Abraham Hicks calls it, the emotional ladder. So you have to climb the ladder means that you cannot go from I'm fucking miserable to life is amazing. So when you are here, what really helps is to have grace. Start to like say, you know what? There are times that you're so low that you just want to be there. You're like, I'm just gonna be miserable for a couple hours. Just let me be. I want to feel this feeling. Sometimes it's easy to distract yourself because it's really hard, guys, to just feel the feeling. Like you just want to run around or be on your phone. For me, it's like when I'm really nervous, I want to be on my phone forever, and I know what I'm doing, and that's why this is where awareness comes through. And it's like, fuck what you're doing. You're on your phone for 7 hours. I'm like, okay, get off. Because the feeling is very uncomfortable, right? So you want to numb it. So we numb it with TV, with porn, with, I don't know, phones, distraction, online shopping. That's another one that I do. I'm guilty. I'm always like, when I'm stressed, I'm like, let me buy something. I'm going to feel better. I mean, it does feel good though. But you know what I mean? So just sit in your misery and then start to grasp for the next level. What's the next level? There is like, okay, what's come after misery? Or like the bottom one is fear and desperation. I think that's the worst one. Fear, desperation. Then there's like sadness, misery. Then I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna be pessimist right now. I'm just gonna. Then you go into like, I'm a little angry. Fuck this shit. Okay, that anger is already better than depression and fear, right? Anger feels better. That's when I'm like, you know what? It's better to be angry sometimes than being like extremely hopeless and powerless. Then maybe you get to apathy. You're like, you know what? Fuck it, I don't care. I don't feel nothing. And then you go to like numbness and I don't care, I don't feel nothing. And then you go to neutrality. You know what? I don't care at this point what happened. And then you go like to maybe you're a little hopeful. You know what? Maybe there's something can change. And then you're just like feel a little more positive. Maybe I can think about maybe I can change this thinking. And then it's like you have more compassion for yourself. And then you start to be more positive. And then you're a little happier. And then you feel joyful. And then you feel love. And then you feel freedom, which is the ultimate thing. It's freedom, love, like fucking get out of this fucking mess, right? So what I'm saying is when you're at your lowest, have grace. And when you're at your highest, just be grateful. Just really be like, oh my God, I'm be present, be grateful. This is like one of those moments to just celebrate. So again, have awareness around your feeling. Remember, this is a ladder to climb. You're not gonna go from super down to super up. Like you really have to go through this ladder. Have grace for yourself. Have patience, and then when you have this beautiful moment, like feeling loved, feeling alive, feeling joyful, just be present and appreciate because, like I said, everything passes, right? So, and we all go through this, you are expected to have your down moment. It's not like now I'm like, hey guys, I found the perfect way, I'm never gonna be down. I mean, I still have my moments, but like what I think has changed drastically is my recovery is a lot shorter because of the tools that I have, those mind hacks that are like tools. And then I don't believe so hard in that feeling. I'm like, I know this is just feeling, it's not the complete truth. But in that moment, it feels so true and so real. But I'm like, I know everything moves. Everything is flow. Nothing is final. Going back to my mantra, nothing is final is a big one too. That's kind of like these two shall pass. But I have my mantra. Like I really try. If you want to have mantras, stick it around your house. Put it on your phone, screensaver, or lock screen. Have little things around the house, literally like reminders that you need to straighten up your thinking. Like it could be one, just don't have to have many mantras, but one that really serves you for the moment, just have it out there. Like it really kind of brings you back to like, oh wait, that's how I wanted to think. You're right. I forgot. For a moment I went back into my shit. But now I'm like, hey, I got my mantra. So it really helps you to bring yourself back, right? So another thing that I want to say about the emotional regulation that really helped me is learning to not be reactive to situation. When I'm feeling really shitty, I try not to take any decision and no action. And I mean, this is usually the moment where you want to take the most action. When you're like, you know what? I'm going to write that fucking email. I'm going to write that text. I'm going to call that motherfucker. That's the moment where you're the most reactive because you're immersed in your fucking emotions, right? So that's usually the worst. This is where you are your worst because you don't think straight. You're actually not gonna believe this, but like when you're in survival mode, which is that type of like very emotional reactivity, your blood leaves your brain and goes into your muscle because you're ready to fight or fly or flee or hide, flight or fight. Like you're like in that reactive state where you don't even think straight because you don't really have a lot of blood in your brain, to be honest. The blood is going to like the muscles because you just want to like. So that's why it's never the good time to like really make a decision. That's why I learned, and this has been like the biggest thing, to just sit the fuck back and allow like a full day, 12 hours, 24 hours before I even, sometimes I take like, if it's not that urgent, I take weeks before I even make a decision because depending on what it is, because I learned, this is a big one on Taoism, by the way, the Wu Wei, which is the art of not action or effortless action, which means I'm going to act when it doesn't feel so heavy, when I'm back being grounded, when I'm back being stable in my center. But until then, I'm not making a decision because this is not where I want to make decision from. I want to make decision from a strong, confident place. I don't want to make decision from a fearful, scared, anxious place, emotional space. So allow the space, not act, don't act, and sit back until you regain your own strength, your own clarity. Okay, so the last 2 points, and the last one is it's just a sentence. This is, oh my God, it's an hour. Okay. The number 8 mind hack is removing resistance. Guys, this is one that I should talk about this for fucking another live about just this point because removing resistance is huge. And this is probably the hardest thing to do is knowing what you want and then let it go. That's what it really is, removing resistance. Because so many times When you really want something, you attach so much to it. You attach need to it. You attach controlling. You want to know when it's gonna happen. You want to know how it's gonna happen. You want to know that it's gonna happen. So you just attach this strong, heavy resistance. Paradoxically, you're thinking about the thing, but in a way that shows how much lack you actually have inside. Because if you look at something that you want as something that is not possible, you're gonna create a lot of resistance because you don't believe it's possible for you. So the craziest thing in everything you want is like, you know what? I really want that to happen. And I'm just gonna let it go. As in, I know it's coming to me at the right time, in the right way. I do not am responsible for how this is gonna go about. I would say this applies extremely well into relationship, health, work, training. It can be, you might have more instruction when it comes to just training because you know the steps to take. But sometimes you have, the steps to take in your work, but sometimes I'm talking about like these situations that are like more generic where you don't know how, you're looking for the lover of your life. You just like, I know, or like, something like that. You just know you want it, but you're like, how the fuck is it gonna happen? I don't know. I need to go on a million dates, or I need to like talk to everybody. Like you get about it with so much anxiety behind it that it just creates resistance, and then you'll never meet anybody, or you meet the wrong people. And this can happen with training too, by the way. You could be like wanting something so bad and you overtrain and you overdo it and you don't think about nothing else, and then you don't sleep because you're stressed about it. The body is not responding, and I'm spending so much money on training, and I want to perform, and I'm old, and I mean, you know what I mean? It's like if you want something, but you create so much thoughts and thinking and thinking and thinking, create resistance. Believe it or not, the least you think, the better it is. At this point, I wish like half of my thinking was gone because the more I think, the thoughts, when you want to understand or when you want to analyze a situation, and then you want to, why is this not happening now? Like, what is this person doing that I don't understand? The thinking creates resistance. So you really like, I know it's hard to say it, like to do it, but you have to just be like, you know what? This is something I'm gonna let go because I can feel myself getting too worked up around it. Again, being a love relationship, your health, work, things, moving, big decisions. Sometimes like you're like, well, am I just gonna let it go? I'm like, well, you're gonna sit back into that place of non-action. You just have to go back in there, and that's where you're gonna decide if you're acting, when to act, and what type of action to take. But you have to wait till you're aligned with like your own peace, your own mind, your own calm in your mind. You just have to stop being so forceful when it comes to things you want, because people think like, we are in this culture like hustle hard to get what you want. I'm like, yes, but no, because if you really create so much resistance, as in you don't believe the thing is possible, but you're still working super hard, you're really maybe gonna get there, but it's gonna take so much like effort and work, and then the result is gonna be kind of good. Instead, you're like sitting back, knowing what you want, but also allowing it to come on its own timing. So what you do in the meantime? In the meantime, you're appreciating what is already here. You're more positive. You're more lighthearted. You just like work the things you need to work. Like, you're still gonna train. You're still gonna work. You're still gonna go on about your dates, but you do it with some lightness to it. You just be like, you know what? I'm okay here. I don't need so much right now. I'm actually in a good place. So in that place, it's a place where you're the most powerful because you don't need anything. You're whole, and that's when magically sometimes things comes to you, and you're like, oh, I wonder why this happened. I'm like, well, check your mental and emotional state. Were you calm? Were you whole? Were you feeling good? Were you just relaxed overall? Were you just like hopeful about the process and trusting? That is so magical, and also life is so much better when you live it from that point of view. It's crazy because sometimes I'm like, it cannot be that easy. I'm like, it cannot be that easy. I'm like, what, so I just need to feel good all the time? I'm like, yes, because when you feel good, you are the most powerful, and most things comes to you. Oh, I didn't expect that happening. I mean, yeah, because you remove heavy expectation. You can have some expectation, like light expectation, like, oh, I expect positive things. But if you become too narrow-minded, too controlling, like I want this happen at this time tomorrow in this place, it doesn't work like that. You have to just remove the resistance, like sitting back, allow things to unfold, be surprised, fucking enjoy the unfolding, enjoy day by day how things move around you, and then you'll be surprised. It's gonna be even better. So sometimes we think it's a lot of work to get what we want, but it's actually paradoxically the opposite. Sometimes, yes, you have to work for things, but you need to sit back and relax the fuck up, because we are true control freaks, wanting the thing fast. We have no patience, we have no trust. We just, one thing now, and that's it. No, you have to really like chill and let what you want go, and then it's coming when it's ready. That's it. Okay, the last point, guys, and then I'm gonna go because this is an hour live. Nobody's gonna watch this shit. They'll be like, oh god, like, oh, no, you're gonna watch it right in your car or maybe later during the day. It's good things to say. The last one that I'm gonna say, this is more of my number one mantra. I say this to myself all the time, or I say to people. It's the title of one of the book of Neville Goddard, and he's one of those, I told you, like spiritual teacher, philosopher, and the title of the book is "Feeling is the Secret." And to me, I made my own version. It's called "Feeling and Believing is the Secret." Like the belief, when you can really like, master to stick around with a certain belief long enough, that shit it just become truth. Like I knew deep down that a lot of things. I just had this strong belief. I just strong belief about certain things that I'll just do it. I don't know. One of them is like, this could be basic, but it was like, I know that I can be strong and lifting very heavy and be very flexible at the same time. And a lot of people told me like, oh, what are you talking about? Don't do it, and it's not gonna work. But well, for once, I try when I have a belief that I really want to protect. I don't talk about it with people, because people pollute everything. People, you say something that you're like, you have a little dream or a plan or some project, and you just talk about it because at the beginning because you're excited, and people just shit on it. I'm like, oh, that's stupid. Why do you want to do that? I'm like, and then it kills your baby dream. You're like, oh my god, it's dead. Because people pollute your dream because they're like just stuck out their ass, or they're in a bad mood, or they just jealous of you having actually a dream and not them having them. So what I'm saying is, if you have a dream, or you have a goal or a project or something, you're really like feeling good about it, like just keep feeling good about it, just keep believing in it, and that's the secret of how it's gonna come across. If you feel it's possible, if you believe in yourself, like I swear to God, this seems like so cliche to say, is gonna come. So the only thing that's taking so much time to happen is because you have a lot of contradictory thought about it. Like one day you believe it, and then 3 days you don't believe it, and then you believe it another day, and then someone talked to you about it, and you feel down, and that slows down this creation to happen, because you keep being like this with your belief, instead of being like, I just fucking believe it, and I don't care when it's coming. You let go of when the outcome is gonna come, and how is it gonna work. You just strongly believe, and you don't talk about it with so many people, because people, like I said, they pollute your dream. They just get into their own experience. They share their own experience. Well, when I tried to do that, it didn't work for me. I'm like, okay, but that's your story. I don't want to hear it. That's your experience. My experience is going to be different. Oh yeah, it's going to be different. Like, yes. So again, feeling is the secret, believing is the secret. Like the secret for what? To realize what you want. Like I knew I could become a contortionist. I knew I could live in the United States. I was from it. I came from Italy. I didn't know how I was gonna make it. I made it. Like I made a lot of things happen because I just believed. I didn't know how it was gonna come to me. I just knew in one way or another when this was gonna happen, or I was gonna have my own business, or I was gonna work for myself, or I was gonna live in Miami. Like all these things. Sometimes we create things for ourselves without knowing what we're doing, but we are doing all these mind hacks. We are having a clear vision, we are having a clear intention, we are having a positive feeling about it, we are like practicing envisioning it. Like we are doing all these things sometimes unconsciously, but this is how we achieve a lot of things. That's why I broke down these 8 points for you, because those are like ways to strengthen your mind and really go about what you want and bring it to life. So I hope you could grasp some of those concepts. I know some of them, they're a little hard to digest as a first time if you never heard about this type of law of attraction, creation, the power of the mind, and changing your thoughts, changing your life. Those are all like concept of, I would say, modern spirituality, but it's not really modern. This is things that has been said many years in different ways, even in the Bible. To be honest, I'm not religious to that in that sense, but a lot of, like, Neville Goddard in his books talks a lot about the Bible, and it reads into it just translated in a way that is really absorbable for someone like me that is not necessarily religious, but I really understand the concept. And so those are not modern concepts. Those are like, there are modern teachers, but this is our concept that's been around for fucking million of years, or I don't know, that many years, so many years. So again, thank you for watching. I'm gonna keep this live on if you wanna watch it again, or for the people that weren't here. I hope you liked it. And again, if you have any question, I can help you with any other thing. You wanna know any title of the books that I'm reading, we'll be happy to give it to you. Also the meditation, if you wanna start, you don't know how to start. Like, guys, I started with a 5 minutes meditation because I was like, I can't even close my eyes and be with my mind, you know. I was just, so thank you for watching. And again, I'll see you soon next time. Love you guys. Thank you for watching. Ciao. Woo! We're done. Thank you for watching on YouTube.